Hello and welcome everyone to The Difference Makers, sponsored by Difference Makers Media. I'm your host, Lynn Sanders, and I am so excited to have you here with us today. Imagine what it would be like to be a publishing success, to be interviewed by Oprah, and be featured on Good Morning America, as well as the Today Show. What would it feel like? Well, today you're going to find out and learn even more so you can be a publishing success. Our topic is Insider Secrets to Your Publishing Success, featuring our guest, Suzy Prudden. But before we go any further, I want to let you know you have a rare opportunity. On this program, you can type in questions or make comments in the comment stream that's on this page. So if you're watching live right now, I strongly encourage you, please write in your name and where you're hanging out from in this comment stream. It'll give you practice in being able to write a question or write a comment, and then we'll know you're there. And to address any of your questions, we're very lucky to have Roland Takaoka, my wingman and webmaster, and he's going to wave hello. Thank you, Roland, for being here. And now, without further ado, let me give you a little bio about Suzy Prudden. Suzy is an internationally acclaimed and best-selling author. She is a seminar leader and speaker, a TV and radio show host and personality, and she has been inspiring audiences since 1965. Besides that, she is a fitness expert, a hypnotherapist, a success and accountability coach. Yes, and even beyond that, she is a co-publisher of Itty Bitty Publishing, where she has a slew of authors who she has published on our website and more in progress. So without further ado, Suzy, welcome to our show. How are you?
I am wonderful, and thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me on your show, and thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm really glad you're here. There's so many people that have books in their heart or who have published and never made a success with their books. So I would like you to start by giving us first your story, how you got to where you are today. I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, it is. I didn't plan it. I didn't plan to go into fitness when I went into fitness. I didn't plan to do, everything came to me. I was very, very blessed. When I went into fitness in 1965, I was in the right place at the right time with the right name. My mother is Bonnie Prudden, the nation's foremost fitness expert. She started the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports under Eisenhower.
Wow.
And she started in fitness because she didn't like the fitness programs in schools or after schools when my sister and I were growing up, and she was a trained dancer. So she started her own fitness program and became worldwide known. And in 1965, when she told me I couldn't date the boy I was dating, I ran away and married him.
Oh my goodness.
And then I had to support him because he went back to school. I started teaching fitness, and I was very good at it. And then I started writing books about it. It doesn't happen this way today, but I sold my first book at a cocktail party in East Hampton, Long Island. I had a house there. I had a business there. We were at a cocktail party. I met Joni Evans, who was with William Morrow at the time. And I told her about my book idea about fitness for toddlers. And I know unequivocally that she bought the book because of my name, because my name was famous. But they bought the book, and that I did it backwards. I sold the book, and then I got an agent who negotiated the contract. The problem for me was that I couldn't write, but my husband could. So he wrote the books, I did the programs, and that was the beginning of a lot of forward movement. The book is not the end, the book is the beginning. And we got a lot of press. You have to get press. You have to get noticed. So we did. And I lived in New York City, and there's a lot of TV and press, etc. in New York. And I got on television and I got on radio, and I went out for it. I went after it and got it, and I was good at it. And then as we progressed and sold more books and I did national tours, I became more and more famous. And I became a household name. I was a brand. People would recognize me on the street. People would recognize me going through airports. It was an interesting and very heady experience. And then I had enough. I didn't want to do it anymore. So I left. I sold the business. I basically retired at 40. I divorced my husband. I retired at 40. I didn't know I retired, but I did. And then I started working in the body-mind industry, and I was a pioneer because at that time people didn't realize I would go to the same editors that I would talk to about fitness and talk to them about the body-mind connection, and they would not. They would say, "Well, the body and the mind. Well, what's the connection? Hello." Trying to live in the same house. And then in 1988, I was very good friends with Louise Hay. She would come over to my home, and I now lived in California, and we would exercise together. We were friends. And one day her hip was bothering her, and I said, "Well, you're the expert in what that means in your life. What does that mean?" And she said, "Oh," and she thought about it. And she said, "Oh, I get it. I'm okay." I said, "But Louise, why don't we do a video? I'll do the exercises and you do the affirmations." And so we did. And then I wrote the book, Meta Fitness, Your Thoughts Taking Shape, which got me on the Oprah show.
Wow.
And Oprah loved the work. And I did not help Oprah lose weight. I had nothing to do with that. But she loved the work with how the body and the mind are connected and how every part of the body represents an aspect of your life. And so we had a really good time for a while in talking together about it. And then I just kept moving on. But the interesting thing is 8 months after being on the Oprah show, now you have to understand I at one time very wealthy. I had the condo in New York and the house in East Hampton, kid in private school and camp and all of that. And now I'm in California and on my own and have no team. And I do the Oprah show. And I did not know how to handle what came afterwards. And I ended up broke and I ended up homeless. And so I had a period of time in my life. That's a very scary time.
Can I ask you a quick question how that happened, Susie? How did you go from being famous and wealthy to homeless?
I was stupid.
What does that mean?
I was not paying attention to my money. You can't spend $10,000 a month if you're not making $10,000 a month. And it didn't compute because I'd always had money somewhere. And it was easy for me to make money. I would get a job and do a promotion for somebody and make $30,000. It just would happen. So, but then it stopped happening and I wasn't paying attention and then ended up in that situation. But I did it to myself, and I think I did it to myself because I needed to learn some lessons, which I did. And I needed to stop being I was very judgmental. It was, I needed to be brought down a little bit.
Wow.
I needed to be humbleized.
I see.
So I was humble, and it was a gift, and it was exciting, and it was scary, and there were times that I was really scared, but I always had places to stay. I have great friends, and I always had work. So for example, my first week after leaving my home, I was at Rancho La Puerta in Mexico, a 5-star spa, teaching. So I would be living there. And then in the following week, I would find someplace else where I would teach or do something because I was this quote unquote famous person who just didn't have any money and didn't have a home at the time. My furniture lived in the storage bin.
So where did you live?
It depended on who invited me.
Oh, wow.
Some people gave me their home. I mean, in December when I was in New York City in December, writing the book Change Your Mind, Change Your Body with my sister, and a friend of mine gave me his apartment for the month because he was going to California for the month. So I stayed in his 2-bedroom apartment on 2nd Avenue and 22nd Street, had a fireplace. I was able to have Christmas with my son because he gave me his apartment for a month. That's how I lived for 10 months. It was sometimes I really didn't know where I was going to go.
Yeah.
And but I always had friends with whom I could stay. I never had to stay in my car. I went to Maui for 6 weeks and took a course there. I went to Maui and taught a course there. I went to Canada and taught a course there. I mean, it was magical.
Wow.
But it was scary. And then I slowly rebuilt myself, came back to LA and started doing body mind work, workshops. I just create stuff and it happens. And I didn't want to go back to fitness. People say, but you could teach exercise. I couldn't. I didn't want to. And but I was fascinated by the mind. So then I opened up a hypnosis weight loss center. It was a franchise. And when I became a hypnotherapist, and I ran that for 10 years until 2008, when the bottom fell out of everything. And I was so grateful that I lost the franchise, because then it meant that I could do my own work. And I just closed. I had 4 offices in LA, 11 employees. I had to make, it's unbelievable. For a hypnotherapist, I had to bring in $45,000 to $50,000 a month just to stay open.
Oh my gosh, that's
unbelievable. I know. It's like, I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it, but I always do it. And so I closed everything down, just had my own little office, and I didn't have any employees, and that was wonderful. And I worked with entrepreneurs, and that's when I went to CEO Space and talked to people there. And I was working with a company called New Reality, doing hypnosis, guided imagery for them for their light and sound machine program. And it just, that company then grew. And then in 2014, the universe is God is good. Mm-hmm. If you let the universe know what you really want, the universe gives it to you. Mm-hmm. I was getting very bored with working with entrepreneurs and their problems in being in business, such as having to pick up the phone. And when you're an entrepreneur and when you're in your own business, the money's in the phone. If you don't pick up that phone and make your calls, you're not going to be able to do business. You can't just do emails. You have to use the phone. You have to make personal contact with your potential clients. So I got tired of telling people you have to follow up and follow through and pick up the phone. And I was talking to my sister, and I said, I'm really tired of this. I'm actually getting bored with my business. So the way the universe works, since I said I'm getting bored with my business, I stopped getting clients.
So it was a signal for you to do something different.
Yes. And then my sister was spending the holidays with me, and my name had been on all the books and all the programs that I had done. We had written a small book in 2006. And at that time, we knew nothing about publishing. I had published a lot of books with the New York houses. And I am a New York Times bestseller from before the internet, which is very different than now. And we were playing around with publishing, and we published this book called Suzy Prudden's Itty Bitty Weight Loss Book, because a coach said, write a little book. So we wrote a little book. And it was an ugly cover, and it didn't sell. We bought the obligatory 2,000 copies. I think I still have 1,800 in the garage.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked her to change the cover and make it a better, smaller book. And what she did, this isn't the book, but this is similar. What she did was she showed me the cover, but she held her hand. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, let me put that out there. Okay.
So she held her hand right here, and then she took her hand off, and my name wasn't there. So I'm looking at the book, and I look at her. I say, you sure you don't want my name there? And she said, I don't care. And I said, that's $1 million business. And 4 days later, we were in business with S&P Productions and Itty Bitty Publishing. 2 weeks later, we had our first author. And 6 weeks later, we published our first book. And we haven't stopped.
Wow. So tell me, what made you realize it was $1 million business? What triggered it in your mind?
took my name off the cover.
Oh.
So that now I'm not responsible for writing all the books.
You're helping others make
now
their books.
I am responsible for supporting others. So I took 50 years of experience in being in the public eye with books and television and radio and all of that. And I've taken my in front of the camera work and in front of, and have brought myself behind, and I'm now pushing people forward so that they become the focus. It's their book, it's their career, and I can give them the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding of what I know and what I'm always learning to help them promote their business.
That is so important. So now everyone's probably on the edge of their seat. So now, how do you do it? Can you share some of those secrets to make people successful? What are your secrets?
Well, first of all, Itty Bitty Publishing is a brand. And we are the new dummies. The difference between Dummies books and Itty Bitty books. Dummies books are 350 pages you have to read with a yellow highlighter. Itty Bitty books, you can see it. It's a little tiny book. It can't even be in a bookstore. And this is important. I don't like bookstores. And the reason I don't like bookstores is because they're not very nice to authors. They'll order a whole bunch of books, but if you don't sell your books within 2 months, they'll tear off the front cover and send your book back to the publisher.
Really?
And the publisher has to return the money, yes. So for me as a publisher to get books in bookstores, that's a very expensive proposition. They have 90 days to pay you. And if you don't sell, they tear off the cover and send it back. So you're investing literally hundreds of thousands of dollars to get your books in bookstores, and you may lose all of it. So that's why I don't like bookstores.
Wow.
I want to be in Target. I want to be in airports. I want to be in, what's it called? Best Buys and CVS and Walgreens, in kiosks, itty bitty kiosks, so that people can be standing there and looking at, oh, here's a book on retirement. Oh, here's a book on finance. Here's a book on sales. Here's a book on, and so people can just stand there and look at our books. They're 30 pages. And so you say, how do I do it? Quite honestly, Lynn, I don't know. I know that we have a system. We send everybody a how to write an itty bitty book. We ask them to follow the template, and then we work with them to make sure that it is exactly the way it needs to be for the itty bitty brand. And then we put it up on Amazon, Nook, Kindle, Smashwords, Kobo, D2D, iTunes, Barnes & Noble, Bibliotech. We are in libraries digitally. And then we always do an Amazon bestseller campaign for all our authors. We've done 48 campaigns so far, and we have 48 bestsellers.
Wow, what a track record that is.
I know, it's really good.
Unbelievable.
And what happens is to get a bestseller, it's a system. And we have our authors tell all their followers, buy my book on this particular day on Kindle for 99 cents. We send it out on the internet. We send it out on Facebook. We send it out to all of their mailing lists. We send it to our mailing list. We ask all our authors to send it to their mailing list. So there's a lot of people that are prepared to buy this book for 99 cents on a particular day. And then we have a lead up. So you're asking me, how do I do this? We have a 10-day lead up to the day. So we're contacting people, and some people, you're contacting people many times. I say, well, you can't contact 2 times. If someone doesn't want to open the mail, they won't open it. And after they've already bought the book, they're still going to get, you've got 3 hours, you've got 2 hours, you've got 1 hour, you got 5 minutes And we have had people buy the book, 5 minutes before midnight at 99 cents, and it counts.
Yeah.
And then we take a screenshot when it makes number one, and then we can get the little sticker, which we have printed on our covers, and they are a number one or a number, we don't say number two, but they are a bestseller. If you
That's
make
fantastic.
anywhere from 1 to 10, you're a bestseller. And it is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, really, because what you're saying you do is you help the authors from start to finish. You help them from their writing and editing phase to getting the book out, to helping them with their marketing so they become a bestseller, which is a strategy. I'm going to just pause for a moment because Roland is bringing up a comment on our comment stream. So Roland, someone has, you have posted, the book is the beginning, which is a good, important comment to remember, because what Suzy is talking about is you don't just stop with the writing of the book. You're going to go further. So go ahead, Suzy. I think it's really fascinating that you have a template, in a sense, a format that people follow so they can get their book out easily. They don't have to do 365 pages.
It's almost like painting by numbers. It's right. We have an app. We have it so it's set up. Page 1 of each chapter is done with numbers and paragraphs and sentences. Page 2 of each chapter is bullet points to support page 1. And this is important, to develop a relationship with the reader, to send the reader to the author's website where they can get more information. When I love reading thick novels. I love fat novels. I hate fat how-to books. So I will buy them, but I don't read them. And so when my sister and I created Itty Bitty, we wanted people to buy the book and to get just enough information so that they would want more. And so they then go to wherever the author sends them in terms of their website. We have one author, and actually he probably sells more books than anybody else in our stable of authors. He wrote a book on staging your home to sell it. Now, there's no way we can put pictures into our itty bitty books, but he talks about every single room in the house that you're staging. Then he sends the reader, to the website where he shows them pictures of before and after. So he's showing the reader what they can do, but they find out about it by reading his book.
Brilliant, brilliant. So you are encouraging people then to engage with the author by going to their website.
Absolutely, because then the author has the opportunity. That's why I say your book is your beginning, because your author then has the opportunity to introduce the reader to your blog, if you have one, to your podcast, if you have one, and we encourage all of our authors to have one, to a seminar, if you have one, to whatever it is, if you have a brick and mortar, to your brick and mortar. We do have a few authors who do have quote unquote brick and mortar businesses. Most of our authors are more online, but I'm looking, I tell my authors, okay, you're the expert in your field, create a certification program and teach people what you do, certify them to teach what you do, and become a Pilates of whatever. So, because Pilates is a system that was created by a gentleman in the 40s. And I don't think, and now it's in every gym and every health spa in the world. His system.
Right. So basically you're helping people become the expert in their field using the book as a springboard, I would say, to engaging, which is so important. Just like right now, we're allowing people to engage with you, which is, I feel, a great privilege, whether it's live or they can type in comments afterwards and you can visit the page. I mean, how often do you get to talk to someone who's been on Oprah? Honestly, I don't know. Too many people done that. And you can tell them your story and give them hints to grow their business. I have an important question to ask you, Suzy. What about people who have already written books? Could they possibly reformat part of their book?
Oh, absolutely.
Has anyone done that and work with you that way?
Yeah, a lot of people have big books, And but they want to reach a different audience. And so we tell them, okay, so take the 15 most important pieces from your book that you can narrow down literally to 2 pages, and we'll publish it. And we also have people who want to write bigger books from their itty bitty book, because an itty bitty book is basically, it's like an annotated outline. It's what you would give an agent to take to a publisher. So we tell our authors, take your itty bitty book, take the information and expand it. And because people are afraid that one of the questions, there's 2 questions, very important questions that I get all the time. Number 1, am I allowed to do more books if I sign with you? We say, absolutely. The material is yours. The publishing of the material in the itty bitty format is ours. So take your information. If you use our format, you can't. But it's your information. I mean, I've written 11 fitness books. There's just so many ways you can twist the body. You can't, but I just give a different format. I do for children, I do for adults, the different exercise books. So yes, you can take your itty bitty book and make it a bigger book. The other question I always get is, how quickly will I make back my money from writing a book? And I say, you will not make back your money selling books unless you're I do have a couple of authors who have made much more selling books, but most of the time you will not. And, but you will make a lot of money using your book as the business builder. This gentleman who wrote this book that I was holding up earlier, his name is Anthony Camacho. He's a sales coach. He has gone from $100,000 a year to $750,000 a year using his book as a marketing tool.
Oh my gosh, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. He's our star. We have our Kat Bonzak, who wrote the Your Amazing Itty Bitty Marijuana book, 15 Ways to Use Cannabis for Healing.
Oh my gosh. I
told her, create a certification program. You can certify cannabis coaches to teach people how to use cannabis, and the history of cannabis, which is fascinating. And she made $92,000 in 1 weekend selling certification programs. So you can make a lot of money, not from your book. That's why I say your book is the beginning, but from what you do with your book. Mary Helen Conroy, she's a wonderful lady. She does not believe in retirement. She's over 65. And she says, okay, so people who retire at 65 die. I mean, what Laurel Langmeyer says, it's such a funny thing. She said, she grew up in the Midwest. She grew up on a farm.
Yes,
and retirement meant putting the cows out when the cows were no longer breedable. When they were done, they would put them out to pasture, retire them where they would eventually die. They would feed them, obviously, but they would just, that's it. You go out to pasture, you die. How many times do you hear of someone who's retired and they have all these plans to do this, that, and the other thing, but they sit around the house watching television and they expire?
Right.
So Mary Helen Conroy wrote a book on, okay, so now you've retired. What are you going to do for the next 30 years? Right. And then she lays it out, and she has a whole program for people who are over 60. She calls it retiree rebels. And it's not about retiring. It's about, okay, so now what?
Yes, exactly.
I'm going to be 75 in 3 weeks.
Unbelievable.
And my sister just turned 79. And now we have this new business, and we're about to start another one. Probably next month. It's so funny. And
it's amazing.
Well, you don't just stop because you turn a certain age.
Right. It's
not anymore.
Right. Exactly. It's how you feel about yourself and how you think about yourself. Right. Age is just a number. It's not the end. And I think you're totally an example. Susie, we are coming to the end of our program, and you have so much wisdom to share. I'm so grateful that you're here. So I want to let everyone know, as you can see, If you want to be able to tap into Suzy's wisdom and get help, Suzy is giving you a free gift. We're going to turn for a moment to our slide that Roland has put together. Suzy is offering a free consultation. That's right, a free consultation. And you can learn how to become a best-selling author by going to her website, ittybittypublishing.com. And
I want to say something quickly.
Sure.
A lot of people go to ittybittybooks.com. Don't do that. That's a different company. That's a UK company in their little books. It's Itty Bitty Publishing. Be sure it's publishing, not books. ittybittypublishing.com.
They're probably copying you, Suzy, I imagine. So we're going to go over, take a look, and there's one more gift that Suzy is giving us that I think is amazing. You've heard her talk about the mind-body connection. So here's a way to put it all into results for yourself. Her gift is 4 proven book writing guided visualizations. You're going to get 4 MP3s that will help you put your mind and body together to be successful, with a bonus, creating wealth 4-pack or creating wealth consciousness. And that's 4 different MP3 hypnosis.
Well, it's one MP3 with all the different processes on it.
Oh, okay. We had written it on one MP3 with 4 different processes. Is that correct?
Well, actually, it's 8 processes, 4 on writing a book and 4 on creating wealth. And Greg Reed, who wrote 3 Feet from Gold, said to me, he listened to my wealth processes and tripled his income in 1 month. So if nothing else, get the processes so you can make more money and have more fun.
So let me put that out for everyone again. So here's the link, suzyprudden.com/, you can write this down, my-free-gift-2-u. And underneath that, you'll need to put a password, which is my gift. So take a good look at this. This is a free gift from Suzy, and you're going to be able to help, build your writing success. Is that correct, Suzy?
Absolutely.
So one last note before we leave, I would like Suzy to give a closing message, a takeaway for all of you to remember after you've stopped listening to this program. Suzy, what do you want everyone to remember?
Your book is the beginning. It's not the end. It's not a business card. It's a business builder. And you can do what Anthony and Kat did. You can take your book and parlay it into literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. So your book is your beginning, not the end. It's the beginning, and after that, that's when the real work begins.
Wow, that's a beautiful message. Your book is the beginning. Remember that, both for would-be authors and published authors. So if you want to get in touch with Suzy, I recommend getting a free consultation with her and taking advantage of her gifts. And until then, I want you all to remember, my takeaway is you all make a difference. That's why we're here, gathered here at the Difference Makers, to build your difference, make a bigger difference so we can make this a better world. Thank you all again for listening. I look forward to having you tune in again next week for our next show. And until then, keep on shining your light to everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.